In today's world, it is so easy to feel this kind of emotional weight, this distress that's just hard to put a name on. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a really powerful 1400-year-old teaching that gives us a framework for navigating these exact feelings. So let's get right into it.
I mean, seriously, think about that for a second. Do you ever just feel stuck? Maybe you're caught in a loop, replaying something from the past. Or you feel totally crushed by what's happening right now. Or maybe you're just paralyzed by the fear of what's coming next. It's something we all go through.
You know, what's incredible is that ancient Arabic has these super specific words that perfectly describe these feelings. There's huzn, which is that sadness for the past, gham, the distress you feel in the present moment, and hum, that anxiety about the future. This framework doesn't just see them as random bad moods. It sees them as distinct states that need a very specific kind of remedy. So, here's the most important part. We're not talking about some magic words you just chant. We're about to unpack a prophetic prayer that came with a specific instruction. It's meant to be learned, not just rattled off. This is all about a fundamental shift in how you see everything, like installing a whole new operating system for your mind.
Okay, so this whole teaching is wrapped up in a prayer or a supplication. But as you're about to see, every single line is designed to build on the last, creating this powerful mental and spiritual framework. And it all starts with figuring out your core identity.
Now check this out, because this is the key. The companions didn't ask, hey, should we just say this? They asked, should we learn this? And the answer was a clear, emphatic yes. See, the power isn't just in speaking the words. It's in completely internalizing the deep, profound meaning behind them.
So, the prayer kicks off with this massive declaration, "O Allah, I am your servant." Honestly, this is the key that unlocks the entire thing. But to really get it, we need to know that the word servant here actually has two totally different meanings.
Okay, so on one hand, you have what's called general servitude. This basically means everything in the entire universe, every star, every rock, every single person, whether they believe or not, is completely subject to God's ultimate power. Nothing happens outside of his control. But then there's special servitude, and that's a choice. It's a voluntary, conscious decision to obey, to trust, and to worship. This prayer is so brilliant because it calls on both of these ideas.
The prayer keeps going, "Son of your servant, son of your maidservant." Now, this isn't just for poetic effect. It's meant to drill this identity deep into your core. The source material gives this amazing analogy. Think of a farmer's son, whose father was a farmer and whose grandfather was a farmer. That life, that identity, is in his blood. He can't imagine being anything else. That's how deeply rooted we are in this state of general servitude. It's our base reality.
Okay, this is the big one, right? This is where it gets tough. It's one thing to say a hurricane is God's will. But what about when another person, your boss, a friend, a family member, hurts you? How in the world does this framework help then?
And the answer lies in this one simple but incredibly profound mental shift. You have to train yourself to see the ultimate doer behind the action, and not just the tool that was used. That person who wronged you, they are also just another servant, totally subject to that same general servitude we just talked about.
And this verse from the Quran, man, this is the ultimate reframe. It's a reminder that nothing, absolutely nothing, happens without God's permission. That person could not have possibly harmed you if God hadn't allowed it to happen. Now, this doesn't mean they're off the hook for their actions, not at all. But what it does is shift your focus from rage at the person to trying to understand the event as part of a much, much bigger divine plan.
All right, let's move on to the next phrase, because you'll see how this just keeps building. The prayer says, "My forelock is in your hand." This is such a powerful physical metaphor for control and complete submission.
So the nasiya, or the forelock, is the very front of your head. In old Arab culture, if you grabbed someone by their forelock, it meant you had absolute, total control over them, where they went, what they did. So when you say this in the prayer, you're basically saying, my direction, my will, my entire being is completely and totally in your hands.
But here's the thing. This isn't the control of a tyrant. It's the control of the most merciful. And there's this beautiful analogy to explain it. Imagine a mother holding her little child's hand. The child feels completely safe, right? Then she leads him to the doctor for a shot. It's going to hurt, but it's necessary. That moment of pain is actually an act of her deep love, protecting him from a much bigger illness down the road. The kid might cry, for sure, but deep down he trusts her because he knows she's his mom.
And then comes the punchline to the whole analogy. The prophet taught that God's mercy for us is far, far greater than that mother's mercy for her child.
So when you feel like your forelock is in his hand, even when the path leads through some pain, you can trust that it's coming from a place of ultimate mercy and perfect wisdom.
You see how this all connects? That kind of trust leads you right into the next stage, which is acceptance. The prayer builds layer upon layer, from who you are, to who's in control, and now to the idea of justice. So the next phrase is, your decree concerning me is binding. This one just dissolves all that what-if anxiety. It's this deep acceptance that whatever is written for you, good or bad, is going to reach you, period. There's a story of a man who tried to run away from the angel of death, and the very route he took to escape led him to the exact place he was meant to die. You just can't outrun the decree. And accepting that, it brings this strange but very real sense of peace.
Okay, now this next part, this can be a tough one to swallow. Your judgment upon me is just. What if you're a victim of some horrible injustice? The framework here makes a distinction between the human action and the outcome that you experience. The person who did wrong, oh, they'll be held accountable. But the outcome that happened to you is God's just decree. Maybe it's a test, or a way to purify you, or something you just can't see the wisdom in yet. Again, it comes back to seeing the doer, not just the tool.
So, after building this entire mental foundation of servitude, trust, and acceptance, only then does the prayer finally get to the request. This is the active part, the real cure for the heart.
And here it is. This is what you ask for. You ask God to make His book, the Quran, the spring of your heart. I mean, think about that word. What does a spring do to dry, dead land? It brings life, it brings greenery, it brings growth. That is exactly what you're asking for your soul. For this guidance to be the source of your emotional life, a light that just drives out the darkness of your sorrow and your anxiety.
But, and this is so important, this is not a passive wish. It's not like asking for a beautiful garden and then never planting a single seed or watering it. When you ask for the Quran to be the spring of your heart, you're also making a commitment to actually engage with it. So what does that look like in real life?
Well, it means taking real, practical steps. It means setting aside time to read it, to really think about what it's saying, to try and bring its lessons into your daily life, to memorize its verses so they become a part of your inner dialogue. This is how you actually cultivate the garden of your own heart.
So when you put it all together, what have you got? You have this single, incredible, unified framework. By understanding your servitude, you learn how to deal with the present, your gham. By trusting in His decree, you can let go of the sadness for the past, your huzn. And by turning to the Quran as a source of light, you find a way to release your anxiety for the future, your ham. You see? It's a complete system.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This ancient remedy doesn't promise you a life with no problems, no trials, no difficulties. Nope. Instead, it offers something way more valuable, way more profound. It offers the understanding that real peace isn't about the absence of trials, it's about the presence of an unshakable trust in the one who is in control of them all.